All right, so I want to make this pretty quick. And yes, my hair is all grown out. So I was coming back to Magic because I wanted to make a Queen Marchesa deck, and I learned that the Lord of the Ring cards are coming out. And I didn't buy any Warhammer cards when Warhammer came out because even though I like the Warhammer lore, I wasn't 100% certain on buying any Warhammer type cards. But with Lord of the Rings, I would play more Magic probably with Lord of the Rings. As you see, like playing Magic Arena, I've started playing it again because there's Lord of the Ring cards on there. For me, it really goes back to RTS games, personally. More so than the movie, because I like the movie, but the Battle for Middle Earth RTS games in the past were the like one of my favorite RTS games. And the closest feeling that I can get to playing that game still is probably going to be with cards until they come out with that new reforged Battle for Middle Earth 2 or Banner Lords Lord of the Ring mod, which I need to check up on at some point. For me, Gundor has always been like my pretty much key fantasy kingdom that I like, and I can make myself play Mordor to some degree, but I prefer Gundor over every other faction there is. And when it comes to Magic, one of my biggest issues that I've had for a long time is that uh, I wanted a kingdom that I could play, but there wasn't really any super crazy awesome commanders that were guys and had all that good stuff going on for it. So King Darien was the closest that I could get. Queen Marchesa was going to be my next one, and I'm probably still going to make her at some point. But when it comes to Lord of the Rings, the other thing is that I don't have a solid grasp when it comes to magic lore on like separating the cards into certain areas. Like I would use any card from any area to build a deck. When it comes to Lord of the Ring decks, though, I'm much more inclined to build decks only using Lord of the Ring cards. And when it comes to play groups and stuff, that means it's going to be a lot more like easier for me to have kind of a middle of the road deck or something that I could use because I only want to use Lord of the Ring cards, Lord of the Ring lands, all that good stuff. Now, to tell you what's going to happen, I've watched a few different streams of people like opening collector's packs. Only seen like one person get an elf ring out of one of them. It wasn't even serialized. Um, I'm not much of a collector, and I'm not much of a like cards salesman at all. But what I want to do is build a collection of all of the Lord of the Ring cards, and then I want to build divided decks into like Rohan or the Fellowship because I'm starting off. We might have to combine the Fellowship, the Ents, and Rohan all into one deck. But Rohan, Gundor, Elves, and then you have the Witch King with the Nazgul, Mordor, um, and Isengard. And then if there's enough cards, because I would prefer to use only cards that are in Lord of the Rings for Magic. But if I had to use some of the outside cards, I would have goblins and dwarfs, and then we would have uh, potentially you could break off like beasts, like the spider beasts and stuff. Although I would connect those to Mordor most likely, and then you have the what you call it, uh, not the Hasir, the Easterlings or whatever, which I would probably put with Mordor as well. So the reason why I think I would put the Fellowship with Rohan is because movie-wise, at least, when the Fellowship comes together, um, those are the characters that I think would mesh the best with Rohan. Um, because in the movies at least, like Gimli, Aragorn, Gandalf, all them, they end up going to Rohan first and freeing Theoden, and then fighting uh, Isengard, and with the Ents with them. Okay, and then you have the Witch King and stuff afterwards attacking Gondor. So I want to make a game mode because basically there is a game that I played a town over when I played with those guys. They called it Kingdoms, where there was one king, one assassin, one knight, a couple rogues, and the goal was basically for like the assassin to take over the king's position. The rogues were trying to kill everybody. The knight was trying to protect the king, and the king was trying to kill all the assassin and the bandits. And it made the game more interesting. I want to make a game mode where it's like Witch King versus Gondor, right? And then whoever wins out of that fight gets to join into the overall battle to fight against good and evil. All right, so we could potentially do this with 3v3 starting out, and then if we can build more decks for it, I want to be able to make like a 5v5 situation maybe. So you'd have five 1v1 duels, and then you'd get to combine over into your next fight, which I think would be pretty nice. And in that case, like board wipes, you'd be able to target like one army or something with a board wipe instead. So change the rules a little bit. But watching these streams and stuff of people opening these cards, the thing that bothers me is that you have like these Pokemon channels and stuff, and they go in there and tell you like, "Hey, this is the Pokemon channel, but I just felt like, trying something new, and I don't know nothing about Magic, but I just want to see what happens and if y'all like it or whatever." It's that stuff's like it's like a beating around the bush because we know that they got the Magic cards because they're looking for the expensive card to pull, or because they're a fan of Lord of the Rings, you know. And then they'll put things on their video that's like they'll put like the one, like a whole lot, and like two or three sentences. They'll have like the one, like in a phrase, or the one ring, or something on there to like draw attention to it for clickbait. I don't like all that marketing tactics and stuff, so I'm gonna post stuff like this talk. Nothing super crazy. Um, I have got basically I was buying the commander deck for humans and Mordor, and then I was gonna remove those and then just buy all four of them the other day, but I decided to keep that. So I'm gonna have two human decks, commanders coming in, and then I will have one of the elves and then one of the was it Sauron potentially, and I'm gonna keep those as themselves for a while, and then eventually I might separate everything. So Sauron will have his own deck, Saruman will have his own deck, the Witch King will have his own deck, uh, goblins potentially. I might stick the Balrog with the goblins though. I know that sounds a little bit weird, but movie wise, like the Balrog showed up in the Mountain of Moria, I believe, with the goblins. I believe it was goblins that attacked them. I'm a little fuzzy, but I think it was goblins in there. And so Belrog, I think, would be a cool commander to have for the goblin forces. Dwarf wise, though, I don't know exactly how we'd get that to work, which is why I'm not worried about goblins and dwarfs at the moment. But if I do get this to separate, one of the other reasons why I wanted to get my two of the human decks and stuff as well, though, is because I'm gonna have a human deck that's probably based on the movie. I don't necessarily like the white black steward that they have for that. That really bothers me. There's a blue white steward, but it's Faramir, and he's not the steward in the movie, so I would prefer not to use him. But I want to make my own just personal Gundor deck at one point. So I'm probably going to have the Steward of Gondor as the leader for Gondor, blue white. and then just kind of build off of that. For the Fellowship deck, I'm doing, I think, Aragorn the Uniter, and then you're going to have Aragorn the Traveler's Companion in one of the 99, and then you're going to have Legolas, uh, kill count, Grimly kill count, um, King Theoden. Um, I would have, oh God, I forgot his name. Elrond in there. Boromir would be in there. Probably put Faramir in there. Um, Ormir or whatever his name is for the Rohan would be in there as well. So it'd be a bunch of legendary creatures with all that stuff. But the main bulk of the army would have like Rohan and Ents and stuff. All that would be in the Fellowship deck, to kind of round out that versus Isengard, since Rohan is who fights Isengard, and then the Ents were involved in Isengard. Um, and then for the Elf deck, we're gonna put I don't know why these elf names keep slipping my mind, but uh, the elf that Aragorn marries is going to be the leader of that deck. And you might be thinking like, oh, why would you put her as the leader when you have Elrond? Well, the thing is, like movie wise, Elrond might have stayed and fought in the wars and stuff and all that stuff and reforged the sword, but it was his daughter that got him to do all that. He was giving up. She was the one kind of in charge of everything, keeping everything in motion, the one that helped Frodo, all that stuff. So Elrond is the secondary character in my mind when it comes to the elves. So she's going to be the commander. I'm going to find a way to make her the commander. Galadriel could be in that deck, but she'd probably be in the Fellowship deck. And I think that's how we're going to separate it. When it comes to how we're going to do this, I'm going to tell you straight out, I'm opening the decks. Basically, I'm buying collector packs, at least one box. I'm getting 6 of the commander decks, which have collector sample packs, which I don't believe can contain the ring. But then in next week, I'm going to buy 2 gift boxes, which will have 1 collector pack in each. And that's the subtotal of everything I'm probably going to buy for this. Now, the reason why I'm getting the collector box, one, it's just for the offshoot chance that the ring happens to be in there. The other thing is that there's a lot of unique cards for Lord of the Rings that I'm gonna try and collect, because I want to collect like one of each of the cards for Lord of the Rings at least. So whatever I don't get in my boxes, I'm gonna end up buying online anyway, and I'll gamble with one box just to see what happens, because I don't buy lottery tickets every day. I'm fine with that. The other thing is that I want this because specifically just my ties to the RTS game. I really like Lord of the Rings, like the RTS. I wish they like RTS wise, it's probably one of the best RTSs that I can recall off the top of my head. Just the ability to have heroes, the different factions and how they were fighting. You had all the lines from the movies that like sounded really cool, and they had it kind of um like it didn't sound like a game. It sounded like the real movie lines in the game, sort of with like an echo. Just stuff like that. And you could make your own custom hero in the RTS, which sadly you can't exactly do with the Lord of the Rings, but you kind of can with the ring bearer mechanic. So any character that you necessarily like a whole lot, you could make them the ring bearer and turn them into a legendary. And I think that's kind of like in my head a little bit flavorful to the RTS, but not necessarily what they were meaning to do. One of my favorite cards that I would put though is that Mirror Sigil Sergeant Rhino. Blue white. I've never gotten it to work in any deck. It doesn't fit in Lord of the Rings really, but I'm probably going to try and keep everything Lord of the Rings focused. But the blue white Mirror Sigil Sergeant's been one of my favorite Magic cards for a while. But I'm gonna buy those. I'm going to probably open all of them on here as well. I'm not gonna use any clickbaity titles. I'm not gonna use any hype words and stuff. It's probably just gonna be like Lord of the Rings, Magic, unboxing, or whatever. I want to look at all the cards and stuff that we got. Oh, I also am buying one of the starter decks, which is just the standard 60 card decks for Lord of the Rings. I did that just to have access to more total cards, and it has copies of some of the commander cards that just weren't available in the commander decks, as far as I know. So there should be a couple of those there that we're gonna have. Maybe we'll get a couple of random copies, maybe not, but it should be good. So they come out tomorrow. I'm either gonna try and buy the booster tonight. I'm watching some videos just to see if anyone randomly pulls the ring cards. I'm just kind of looking to see like what's the odds. Like all these uh, game stores and everything else that have been opening packs, they open like, 15, 30 packs or something in a row. And when you look at it, you get and there is also the possibility that maybe there's like a clause somewhere that makes it to where they can't show you who gets the ring until like after everything's like already out and about, or maybe the ring isn't in circulation yet. But out of all the videos I've seen of people opening the boxes so far, I've seen maybe one or two just plain basic elven rings out of like a lot of boxes. So it seems like the odds are fairly small. But I like the artwork. I want all foil of the cards for Lord of the Rings if possible. And also one of the cards that I want's like the full art foil of like the Knights of uh it's the blue white knight card. I forgot what it's called. But I like that card art better than like the Magic Arena card art. The other thing is like with the starter deck, you do get a couple of Magic of the Arena. You get like a code or something for it, so that's going to be good. But either tonight or tomorrow on release, I'll get a collector's box, and then next week I will try and get two of the gift boxes. The reason why I want the gift box, one, they have basically one collector booster pack in each of those, which I'm tempted just to not even get the collector box and just get like four of those gift boxes because they're like half the price. You get one pack, which is like not the biggest deal, but it's also like, it's a one in a million shot that you'll get the card that you want. But you also get 20 foil lands in each of those. So if you got four, I would get 80 foil lands, potentially, enough lands to make a good deck that are all foil, which I like. And I think all the card art for the Lord of the Rings stuff is like really good. The other thing is they have like some oversized extra dice, and they have um, life counters, and they have booster packs inside of there. I think it's like 10 or 15 booster packs or something, which is a decent value for me, I think personally. And you also get something else I don't recall, but I'll either get the collector booster and the next week get two of those, or I won't get the collector booster box and I'll buy like four of those gift bundles. Just because I need the dice and everything else. So yeah, but this is just a quick talk on it. I don't want to be clickbaity. I purposely go out of my way not to use any marketing tactics or anything like that as best I can. If I do end up the very very off shot chance that a ring pops up, um, I'm personally not in the field of people should just have that and just sell it to some collector for like $1 million. My thought process on it is whoever gets it, if you could somehow put a legal document on it and make it more part of the community where it can only be like sold or given away through raffle or something, so it's always randomized, I think that would be really cool instead of just having like one person buy it and like stash it forever. But maybe that would be better for the overall game, as if somebody just hold on to it. But I think just being able to, like, if one person has it, they sell it, they want the money, you get like $2 million, and then it's stuck in somebody's house for 1,000 years and never moves. I mean, that's great and all, but it's also kind of boring. Whereas, like, if you had a legal document attached to it and someone wanted to sell it and say they had to do like a dollar raffle and 1 million people go in there for a raffle, a random person gets it, boom, y'all each toss $1 in for a chance to get that ring, and then someone gets it. Maybe they hold on to it, maybe they don't. Maybe there's like a time clause on it where you can only have it for so long. Like maybe on the document you have it to where it's like anyone who owns this ring can only own it for so much period of time before you have to sell it. Otherwise, blah 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 blah. And then the ring can just kind of bounce around owner to owner, but eventually it'd probably get destroyed or lost or whatever. I'm sure that's probably what happened. All right, but I'm gonna hop off here now as a quick little thing. I did get this package today. I think it's card sleeves though. I don't really have any uh Lord of the Ring card sleeves. I don't even have any excess card sleeves laying around, so. But I do believe that I have. I think these are probably the card sleeves for my Queen Marchesa deck. Another thing with getting excess Lord of the Ring cards is there is a couple of cards that I would like to try in my Queen Marchesa deck, like Bilbo's Ring or whatever, for card draw. But part of the thing that bothers me a little bit is, like, why do you have a ring card and a Bilbo's Ring card? Like, they should know the one ring and Bilbo's Ring, at least movie wise, is one ring. Yeah. So if I do any sort of thing over this, I'll probably. These sleeves look really big. I'll probably show it on here just with my crappy cam. But these sleeves right here are for my Queen Marchesa deck, which I plan on getting proxies for at some point to change the card art to be more dark. And you can see, like, on here, there's a picture of a like a dark knight with a dragon in the background. And my plan for the Queen Marchesa deck has been pretty simple this whole time, even though everyone says it's pretty terrible. And that's simply to have, like, assault armor, and be able to, like, give people creatures and then force them to goad and attack each other like just a chaotic war front. And then Queen Marchesa, I'm going to turn into like a Dark King guy. And then we're going to have Bladewing Dragon, who, when he attacks, you get like a 2/2 black zombie knight with menace and something else per creature in your graveyard. So essentially, I'm going to take my creatures that when they attack produce more creatures, make them attack my enemies, get them to goad, and then attack each other. There's also a sword that does something like that. So if I put a sword and you attack and it goads somebody's creatures, and then you put assault suit on it, and I attack somebody, then they're goaded. They have to attack next turn. So then my creature would go to them. They would have to attack, and then they would hit their enemy. They would get goaded, and then I would give them the creature. They would have to attack. That's actually interesting because if two or three of us goad one target, then that last guy isn't going to be able to attack anybody. But yeah, I'm gonna hop off. This is a short one talking about Lord of the Rings stuff. Those things are